Alright, so fully aware that I'm late on this video, but October was a crazy month for me. So I'm hoping that I can just kind of merge October and November together in this video. So October, I spent the majority of the month doing the in-service training for the nutrition IST that I was talking about, where we were working with mothers from rural communities and training them on ways to improve nutritional intake for their families. And this involved talking about home gardens, talked about the right types of crops to be growing, ways to use indigenous crops to improve upon local foods, all of these things. And then also we provided training on how to monitor nutrition in children if access to a clinic is something that your community doesn't offer. So we had one training in the south, or the southern regions of Ghana, and we had one training for the northern regions of Ghana, which was held in the north. And to be frank, education is oftentimes much better in the southern regions of Ghana because they just have more access to resources. There's greater amount of wealth per capita in the southern regions, and that's just not the situation in the north. The other thing is there's a lot more variance in tribes for the northern regions of Ghana. So within even one region, you have multiple different types of tribes that speak multiple different types of languages. So language is also a huge barrier. And seeing as how we are working with women, which meant that the education that the individuals were holding was probably going to be a lot lower, we were doing the trainings in the local language, so we had translators for the trainings. Now, because the language variance is so great within the northern regions, we had multiple language translations in the northern training and whereas the southern training we only had translations done in one language. So both of the trainings were phenomenal. They were great. They went really well. It seemed that participants were receptive to the information. It seemed that they were very appreciative of the information. But what I kind of want to talk about a little bit is just the northern experience for the training. And to really encapsulate what happened in the north is that, first of all, a lot of the tribes are much more conservative in terms of women aren't afforded a lot of the same privileges that women in southern communities are afforded. So the fact that even women were able to attend was sort of a big deal because we know that a lot of them had to ask permission. Also, the fact that a lot of these women probably don't have or didn't have formal education, so the education level is also different. Something too that I want to address is the fact that when we were doing this training, since we were focusing on mothers, we knew that meant the women would probably have to bring their children to the training, which is totally fine. We're talking about children and nutrition, and one of the reasons that women don't experience a lot of the same educational exposures as men is because of the primary caregiver. So we had children attending these trainings as well. And in the northern training, it was particularly challenging because the first couple of days the kids were like really fussy, which is fine, because that's what kids are. Sometimes they're fussy. And so what was a concern was that we had these women who had to seek permission to attend the training, travel this great distance to go to the training, and you could tell that some of them were very embarrassed and almost ashamed, appearing that their children were crying. And so a lot of the times the women were getting up to leave the room in order to console their children. And that was a concern for us because there's no point in bringing women all the way out of their communities to a training if they're just going to have to leave the room because their children are crying. So what was pretty phenomenal was the fact that Peace Corps volunteers started to try to console the children and take the children outside, play with them, and do the best that they could to make the crying stop. And the fact that volunteers were just being so attentive, one, is amazing. And two, it was really something that allowed for the women to feel more comfortable and actually have access to the information that we were trying to present. And what was something that just really made it for me was a volunteer came up to me and told me that they were first really annoyed with all of the crying, but then they realized that they needed to adjust their attitude so that they could contribute to creating the change that they wanted to see, which, to have that level of self-awareness is just, people need to have that level of self-awareness, and the fact that this particular volunteer was realizing that there was something that they could do to help make it a more conducive learning environment is just representative of, I think, of the small things that we each can do to help create big change. And, a good friend of mine always tells me that if we each just do our little part in doing positive, good things, and eventually the world is just going to be a better place. And I feel like that was sort of something that was represented in the sense that, like, sometimes it just takes us changing our attitude and we can help contribute to make a change. So this training definitely going to be something that defines my service, or just one of the most lasting impacts that it's going to have a lasting impact on me. And I was just really glad to be a part of it and really glad to be working with those different trainers and things. So yeah. Anyway, nutrition training went really well, and we've been getting a lot of positive feedback. We talked a lot about home gardens, and just volunteers and the women that were there just keep saying how phenomenal it was, and that they feel like they can really take it upon themselves now to improve nutrition, which is just fantastic. So yeah, cool. So November, things that are going on for me. I'm kind of in the middle of a beekeeping project right now. We built some bee boxes, which is great. Tonight I'm actually supposed to go help harvest some honey. So that's really exciting. And doing some more trainings on beekeeping, do this honey harvesting training, and that's really great. Bicycle repair project that we've been working on, also going very well. I had 134 bicycles getting repaired. As I was saying before, a lot of the farmers in my community have to travel really far to farm. Sometimes they even take their kids out of school so they can live out at the farm for harvest, just because they need more hands in order to make the journey worthwhile, or be able to really take advantage of not having to make that journey multiple times. So the bicycle repair project is going to be great because it's going to help improve access to farms so people can harvest their crops on time. Also going to improve access to food so people can eat better. And really looking forward to that. Also involved with this is teaching women how to ride bikes, because a lot of the times only men learn how to ride bikes. So that's going to be a fun little endeavor that I'll be involved in. So yeah, two things going on. The third thing that I wanted to talk to y'all about, because I'm definitely going to need some help with this if people are interested. I'm doing a fundraising project called Let Girls Learn. I'm waiting for Peace Corps to sign off on it. And essentially what it is, for those of you that remember, back in June, I was doing a project where I was working with women on designing, creating, and building groundnut planting machines, because they decided that a machine was going to help improve their ability to plant groundnuts. So after we had that really successful project of them just getting that hands-on experience, working with the tools and whatnot, the women have been coming up to me and telling me that they want to do more projects like that where they're learning skills. and I thought that was great. So what I did is I collected a couple of the different women in the community that have skill sets or things that they can teach, and talked to them about the possibility of them helping teach classes so more women can learn these skills. So, for example, there's a woman in my community that makes clay pots, and I use those clay pots to help with affordable means of irrigation. And so she wants to teach how to make clay pots. I told you all about Prec, and I've been working with Prec, and they make soap, and they work with women on teaching them how to make soap. They also make these great bags. We also have batik fabric. So the point is to have a training center where we can teach people how to do all these different types of skills and help women generate income for themselves. And the point of generating the income is so they can afford food for better nutrition, but also so they can have money to pay for school fees and send their kids to school. So what we are doing is we're fundraising. We're trying to raise money to repair a dilapidated building and also get some of the materials that we need to be able to do these types of trainings. And what the women decided was that we'd charge a small fee for people to use the space, so that way we can either repair machines or get more of the materials needed to make different types of products. And they'll hold these trainings. And then the other thing that they want to do is they want to save some of the money for a scholarship to help young girls further their education if they can't afford to do it. So it is this great project that is teaching women skills, also helping women generate income, and also helping improve income or education of girls in the community. And so once I get approval from Peace Corps, I'll be posting this on my blog and also on Facebook. So I'd really appreciate any type of support, be it monetary or just clicking that share button, and hopefully get approved soon so I can get it up before Christmas, because I know a lot of people look for stuff like that to donate to around the holidays. So that's kind of what's going on right now. Got a couple of these projects going on in the pipeline, and just doing what I can to help out. So anyway, it's a short video. The last one's been kind of long. Everything out here is going really well. Really enjoying myself. Really happy with some of the success of some of the projects out here. And I hope everyone back in the States is doing well. Alright, well, till next time, thanks, and hope everyone's doing well. Alright.